In a post-apocalyptic world where mankind is just beginning to recover from a global catastrophe, a new type of entertainment has emerged that has quickly become a symbol of ambiguous success. A resort with a unique concept has opened on one of the Canary Islands, zombie hunting. Here, guests can immerse themselves in the grim reality of the past and, armed to the teeth, fight the reanimated dead. After the zombie apocalypse, we are introduced to a woman named Melanie who has deep psychological wounds. During the apocalypse, she lost the closest person to her father. Every day she has nightmares about zombies. Then one day she learns about the resort from a report. Tired of her condition, she decides to go to the island, hoping that this extreme experience will help her deal with the past. Luis, her boyfriend, doubts her decision at first. After all, he himself is very much afraid of zombies. But seeing his girlfriend's determination, he decides to support her decision. After arriving, Melanie and Luis felt the atmosphere of the resort for the first time, finding themselves in a luxurious lounge area by the harbor. There was a strange mixture of enthusiastic anticipation and nervous tension. Various people stood out among the vacationers. Melanie spotted a little girl with a blue teddy bear at the window, but her mother quickly took the child away as if to hide her from view. When the staff announced that the boat was ready, the guests lined up. The last to join the group was Archer, a stern veteran whose silent gaze said he had seen a lot. On the island, the guests were met by cars that took them to the resort. Along the way, Melanie felt a tension she couldn't explain. The couple quickly settled into their room and then went to a briefing where the guests were taught the basics of gun handling. Luis enthusiastically helped Melanie master the gun, but she still felt unsure. In the evening, there was a pool party that was opened by Valerie Wilton, the resort's general manager. She brought a live zombie on stage to demonstrate it to the guests. The guests were absolutely thrilled, but Melanie felt strangely uneasy for some reason. Meanwhile, Sadie took advantage of the bustle of the party to infiltrate the restricted area. Inserting a flash drive into her computer, she downloaded the resort's confidential files. She then went to her room, unaware that Archie had noticed her. The next day they traveled to the hunting area, and on the way Tom gave a briefing, warning of the dangers. He mentioned that the virus was transmitted through saliva and that fresh zombies were more agile. So he advised them to be careful, but the danger made the hunt even more interesting. On a rock ledge they first saw a group of zombies. Tom handed out guns to them and they started preparing to attack. They started shooting, and at this time Melanie still can't get rid of her insecurity. At this point, Archer surprised everyone with his shooting skills. Meanwhile, in the control room, the resort staff was struggling with technical problems. The system that provided security was showing strange corrupted files. Valerie, seeing that the problem was getting worse, asked technician Tate to run a full diagnostic. Later, at the campground, Melanie shared her doubts and worries with Luis. As night fell, events began to take a dark turn. Tate burst into the control room, informing Valerie of unauthorized access to the system. No matter how hard they tried to get the situation under control, it was all in vain. The resort had turned into chaos, security doors had opened, zombies had broken free, and even particularly isolated areas were vulnerable. In the complex where a group of investors were preparing to leave, Mike was the first to spot a stray zombie. With the swiftness of a professional, he dispatched the threat, but his distracted companions failed to notice another zombie that dragged one of them away. To save his life, Salva wanted to flee the resort, but his path was blocked by a mob of zombies. Valerie realized that all his business plans were crumbling before his eyes. The system launches the Sulfur Protocol, a brutal plan to destroy the entire infected area. Meanwhile, a quiet night had fallen at the campground. Sadie, noticing that Melanie had left the tent, joined her and offered her a drink. A strange conversation ensued between the two. Sadie argued that zombies were still people whose souls were being held captive. Their conversation was interrupted by a strange sound. A zombie had gotten to them as well, but Archer instantly triggered, killing the zombie. Tom, disturbed by the noise, illuminated the surroundings with the truck spotlight. The group froze as they saw dozens of zombies surrounding their camp. Tom ordered everyone to climb into the truck. But when he tried to start the engine, he realized that the transport wasn't running. Alfie was bitten as he tried to climb into the truck. Luis, realizing the threat, didn't hesitate to kill both the zombie and the already infected Alfie. The group stayed up until dawn waiting for help. Luis, cradling Melanie in his arms, assured everyone that help would surely come. But Tom grimly reported that the system was completely destroyed and the Brimstone Protocol would be activated in a few hours. Their situation had become desperate. They now faced a new challenge: to find a way to leave the island before the entire area was destroyed by fire. Tom showed the group a communications tower visible in the distance and suggested they move there. He explained that there was an underground passage and that this way was safer and faster. The group agreed to the suggestion. Before leaving, Jack paid his respects to Alfie with a few mournful words, and then they set off through the dense vegetation. Suddenly Jack was attacked by a zombie. It turned out to be the infected Mike. Tom didn't hesitate to destroy his former friend, but this moment only emphasized how dangerous their journey had become. Archer kept calm and led the group forward, realizing that they had less and less time. Tom wondered how such a robust security system could have failed so catastrophically. As they made their way down the trail, they discovered that Mike's truck had crashed into a guardrail. As the group began to climb over the fence, zombies suddenly appeared and bit Tom, and Louis shot Tom without giving Tom a chance, preventing the spread of the contagion. Upon reaching the communications tower, Archer, noticing Sadie's suspicious behavior, decided to lure her out. Under his duress, she confessed that she had secretly downloaded files from the resort's mainframe computer for the zombie rights group Alive 2. She revealed that their goal was to expose the resort, but a virus she had accidentally injected into the system had caused havoc. Jack, upon learning of this, became enraged. After all, if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't be in danger right now. At that moment, they ran into a horde of zombies. During the commotion, Sadie and Jack found themselves separated from the others. The activist, realizing her guilt, sacrificed herself to save Jack and ended up being bitten. Before she died, she gave the data flash drive to Jack, taking his promise to fulfill her mission. Shaken by their loss, the group made their way to the communications building, but new horrors awaited them inside. Archer saved Melanie from a sudden zombie attack from above, but Jack was bitten. With a heavy heart, Archer was forced to put him out of his misery. The three survivors, Archer, Louis and Melanie, made it to the hall where a sign hung on the door that read "Hope for you." But instead of rescue, they learned the shocking truth. The resort was using the grounds as a trap to lure refugees, turning them into zombies for the sake of experimentation and the amusement of the rich. Melanie realized that Sadie had always been right. This resort was evil incarnate. Now she has one more reason to survive. She must show the world the horror of what is happening. Melanie and Archer, finding themselves in a room with heated walls, realize the true purpose of the resort. The flow of zombies is maintained by turning new victims, and heating accelerates their decomposition to constantly renew the supply. Upon seeing a zombified girl with a teddy bear who once played in the living room, Melanie is horrified to realize how inhumane the shareholders of this resort are. As zombies begin to fill both doors, the tension reaches a peak. Melanie and Luis barely manage to close one door, but the pressure from the other side is too great. Luis, seeing a chance to save himself, dumps Melanie and escapes, leaving her and Archer alone with the threat. The veteran decides to sacrifice himself to give Melanie a chance to escape through the chain. Left alone, Melanie is confronted by Luis. Upon seeing his wound, she realizes he was bitten by a zombie. He apologizes to her, but realizes he has no chance of staying alive. Melanie gives him his weapon and says goodbye. The waiting area is swarming with zombies, but she continues forward, driven by desperation and determination. In the main office, she accidentally finds Valerie. She offers an emergency escape route, but in return demands that Melanie recant her revelations. Melanie refuses, accusing Valerie that her greed and immorality have ruined hundreds of innocent people. They begin to fight over a flash drive. Valerie, despite the threat to her life, is still thinking about her image. Melanie runs away, leaving Valerie in her office surrounded by zombies. On her last breath, she makes it to the beach and jumps into the ocean when an airstrike destroys the resort. A huge explosion shakes the island, erasing all traces of the soulless corporation's existence. 3 weeks later, Archer watches a television report. In it, Melanie, who has become a heroine and whistleblower, reveals the truth about the resort's sinister business and its connection to a charity organization for refugees. Finishing her story, Melanie warns humanity of the dangers of inhumanity and greed. But her words sound like a dark prophecy. As the resort is being destroyed, the camera captures zombies attacking the port connected to the resort. The contagion has spread beyond the island, and Valerie has left the world with an ominous threat even after her death. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and give the channel a like. See you soon.